Welcome, everyone, to another Growth by Design Morrison Lee podcast. I am so excited to be here today with a special guest, a friend, someone who I connected with, and we became fast friends over a short period of time. And I'm just so happy to have her with us today. We found out that we have so many things in common, so many similarities. And so today, one of the themes that we both connected around was around transition. And so we want to have a conversation and have you listen in. Maybe there'll be something that will help you as you go through life transitions and experience different seasons in life, that this conversation will just help you to not just move through transition, but to live your life well despite the challenges and despite the transitions that you go through. So I'm Jacqueline Morrison, your host, and today I am happy to introduce Renee Camsell, our guest for this segment of the podcast.
Well, hello, and it's good to be here with you, Jacqueline. It's always great having time with you to talk, and looking forward to this. My name is Renee Camsell, like she said. I'm a mom. I'm a homeschool mom. I'm a pastor's wife. I am on a team with my husband as a praise and worship team. And recently I've become a grief coach for grief care coaching. So I'm excited. I have 4 children and I only have one at home now. So, it's kind of different, but loving life. Just glad to be with you guys today.
Absolutely. So happy to have you, Renee, and for making the time. Now, I know that in this space, we want to talk to families, and I put an emphasis on reaching families that has young adults or next generations, so that the conversations that we have in this space will help them as they navigate life. And so I want to start today's conversation by talking a little bit about the seasons of life and how they change and how we've experienced transitions. You and I walk through major transitions. And today I want you to share with us about one that really has shaped you, changed you, one that maybe have grown you.
Well, it's hard for me to pick one. There's been so many major transitions in my life that has shaped me. Each season has been different for me. It seems like many times. But the one I want to share today that really impacted me was the passing of my mom. My husband and I I moved to Canada. I married a Canadian back in 2017. And within that year, my mom passed. And that was probably the hardest thing I had been through. I just didn't even know how to live life without her. So that was really something that impacted me greatly.
Now, you've just shared, Renee, about something that would maybe take some folks out, moving from one place to the next, not having family support when you've moved, and dealing with the emotional impact of loss. And a lot of times when people transition, I was reading some of the expert advice around transition, and they're saying, trying to stay connected to your past and with friends and family, but that a lot of times when we transition, there's a lot of grief, and sometimes our emotional journey can cause us to lose sight. But you did not lose sight of some of the things that your mom instilled in you that kept you going. What was the relationship with you and your mom?
Well, everybody that knew me knew my mom. Even though some never met her, they wanted to meet her after I talked to them about my mom. She was that hero to me for sure. Both of my parents are awesome Christian parents my entire life. But her and I had such a bond that I just never even imagined that I would have to do life without her. She was a young mom, so she was fun, but she was very impactful in my life and even my children's, and even my husband, who got to know her for almost 2 full years before she passed, spoke into him greatly. So mom was just everything. She was my safe place. She was someone who encouraged me daily. She went through some of those hard transitions I was mentioning early. She went through those with me with such grace, but she spoke wisdom into me that carried me through so much, and pulled out that faith that I did know as a child. And I wouldn't say I just got over it. This was probably the hardest. Like I said, with transitions, a divorce of 24 years, that was tough. But when mom went, because she was the one that helped me through those, God, number one, but she was the one that literally spoke into me almost hourly sometimes when I was going through things. So when she did pass, I was like, oh my goodness, what do I do? How do I do this? But like you said, it all came back. All the things that she taught me, all the verses she spoke into me, the prayers that she prayed over me, it was there. And I was able to just grasp onto that and go. And it took me a good year, which I'm a very upbeat person. I've never dealt with depression, but that was such sorrow in that. But I held on. She gave me a book many years ago called God's Creative Power, and it was full of his promises. So I held on to those, and I listened to worship music. Just so many things that I had to reach for and hold on to during that time. And I literally put one fork in front of another daily to keep going because I knew that's what she wanted me to do.
Absolutely. When we are going through transitions, and they can be very difficult, but there's always something to hold on to. I remember even sharing with you about how we transitioned our family from one place to the next. And my husband and I first got married. I say all the time, there was a passage of scripture that I repeated as part of our vows that says, entreat me not to leave thee, nor to return from following after thee. For where thou goest, I will go. I did not know at the time that piece of word would be my journey, where after we got married, we moved within that year to United States, which is, again, a commonality. You from the States, we moving there, having our two first born sons in the States, and then moving back to Canada and moving to a different community. And then a decade later, moving again out of province and then now back again to another city in the country. One thing that was said to me when we were transitioning was that I can always find home in Christ. And so it became a journey of knowing that no matter where I am, Christ is with me. And it sounds like that was the anchor that your mom gave you that allowed you to keep going. So as we go through transitions, Renee, our lives are shaped. What would you say life well lived means to you?
Well, like you said, a lot of transitions had to shape me to even come to this answer. But I think it means living very confidently and secure in who you are. Once you go through things, you see how strong you actually are. And sometimes in the process, you do not see that, you do not feel that. But if you stay persevering and just keeping what you need around you and walking through it, and then you're on the other side, then you realize, hey, I did it. I can do this. And once you get to that point, then you're able to help other people. But if you stay negative and you stay just not close to those good things that you need to be close to, sometimes you can become numb and you're not good for yourself, and you're definitely not going to help other people. So I say a life well lived is being that secure person, being confident in who you are, whose you are, and moving forward from there to be able to help others.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. You've moved through a certain season of life through transition, and we've learned lessons along the way, and lessons now that can be passed on to help others to realize their full potential and to live their life fully in purpose. And talk a little bit about your transition from the Virginia to Canada. That's one of the themes that I believe that having met you that we have in common is that cross border transition that you've made, that I made many years ago, and then back to the Canadian side of the border. Tell us a little bit about how you navigated that transition from moving from the United States here to Canada.
Well, of course, I met a Canadian, which is my husband. So I was in love, and the plan really was he was going to move there. That I was not planning on moving to Canada. But long story short, things worked out where I talked to my children, because two of them was going to go with me. And we all decided to go ahead and make the move, Canada. And I couldn't bring any of my things. I was just coming in, even though I was married. So there's a whole sponsorship that went on, and that took some time, but we eventually became permanent residents. And I was just so happy and so in love that I really was excited to move. It wasn't that hard for me, even though I had such a core group of friends back home. I knew, being who I am and who they were, we would still keep a very tight connection. I knew who Devin was. He was a family guy like myself. So I knew I wasn't going to not ever see my family again. I didn't have those concerns at all. So when I moved here, I was just trying to embrace Canada and the new places, new friends. So, there was definitely some loneliness there for a while until I really started meeting people. Yeah, I was able to do that.
Big transition for love.
Yeah.
I love that. And I can definitely relate. We love, amidst the transitions that we will talk about or have talked about, and some of the challenges that come with it. One of the things that helps with transition is finding love, or transitioning because of love makes the journey so much better. And it sometimes is what initiates the journey of transition. And so I definitely know what you mean when you talk about the fact that, yeah, love brought me here. So,
And I had,
you got here.
yeah, he loves to tell people she left the mountains for me. She must have been in love. Because that was one of the hard things. I lived in Virginia, and the place I lived was a valley. So I was surrounded by mountains, and I had that view every day. So I literally missed the mountains so much, but I loved my husband more, so as well.
Yeah, that is awesome. I love that. And how you were able to sort of discern that there was more on the other side and make that transition. So for families and young people, anyone who might be listening to our podcast today, there are times where you're going to come to decisions in your life, and you're going to have to weigh, what feels good, what feels right, your heart versus your head. And sometimes there's going to be the conflict. And so you wonder which one will win. Well, love does win the day. I'll tell you that, especially where family is concerned, love wins the day. And so I'm so glad that love brought you to the North.
Yes, definitely.
One more question for you before we go. Tell me what you love to do.
Well, I love to paint and draw, which is funny. I'm not even good at it, but that kind of is a therapy for me. I'll get a pencil, and sometimes my daughter and I'll sit and we'll watch something on the television. We'll try to copy it, and I just really enjoy doing that. I noticed more and more, and I found out I loved it so much. My brother is actually a real artist. He went to university for commercial art, and I would always try to do things with him. But I noticed as I got older, especially during COVID, we would have paint nights, just my family around the table, and we'd each do canvases, and I just loved it. So, shockingly, it's art, and I had no idea. I would love to learn to play the guitar. I love that. My husband can play any instrument. I've picked it up and pulled around. I think that would also be really great therapy for me. But yeah, that's what I enjoy. Mm-hmm.
I love that. And I'm learning, like others today, about your artistic ability. I know your daughter is very artistic.
Yes.
So that's something that maybe she's picked up from you over the years.
I don't know. She's way better than I am. And actually, I was asking her the other day of how to draw people. She's really good at drawing people. So she was giving me some hints there. But it's kind of a good bonding thing when we get together and do that. So I love that. And also really do love helping people and talking to people. So I think with this new grief care coaching that I'll be doing, it's just going to even help me. Because, when you help others, you feel so much better.
Renee, you mentioned about grief counseling. Tell me a little bit about the counseling that you do, and if someone wanted to be in touch with you, how would they be able to reach out to you?
Well, I'm not a counselor, I'm a coach. I go, that's okay. I go alongside of people to encourage them. This has actually been something I'd wanted to do for a while. Even while Mom was still living, she's like, she was encouraged me greatly. I did not feel quite ready to do that. And then I got my certification, and I have waited for a while, did a lot of praying. But grief, I want to look at it like this. I have lost a son. I've lost a mom. I lost a 24-year marriage. I mean, there's been things in my life that has caused me great grief, not just the loss of a loved one, but there's losses, people lose pets. They're like family, but that's real grief. So I want to just be able to walk alongside them, encourage them, through faith, of course, because it's just a thread through my whole life. Yeah. So I will be encouraging with prayer and verses. But I'm hoping I can help someone to understand that I hear you. I know what you're feeling. Yeah. There's so many emotions with it. But if we can get through those emotions and allow that to heal us, and we can become who we are purposed to be, that's exactly what coaching, and I hope in my coaching, will do. Yeah.
So for those that are listening, coaching is being provided at Casting to Hope.
Number 2, hope at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. I love that. Casting to Hope. So Renee, I thank you so much for being with us today, and looking forward to the support that you are going to be given to those who would love coaching around grief and loss. So many times we walk through things, and the lessons really that we learn are for us. Our experience, though, to be shared, and not just to be shared, but to serve others. And so today, I am so thrilled that you've spent some time with me, Renee, in sharing about transitions, dealing with the loss, the grief that comes with transition, whether it be transitioning from one place to the next, or transitioning from one state of being, even from life to death. That's a transition that we have to deal with. And so appreciate you being here with us today, being with me today, and for sharing your heart. Remember to listen, to share, and to subscribe to the podcast as we grow and bring you more conversations around how people are living their lives and living their lives well, overcoming challenges, and in this episode, still being at peace. Talk to you soon.